So The Mandalorian Season 2 has finally come to an end, and I figured I can go ahead and give you guys my brief thoughts on what I think of the season and the show in general as a whole. So in general, what do I think about Season 2 of The Mandalorian? I really enjoyed it. I think that it provides a lot of fun. I think the action was really good. I really like the brand new characters that we have. I like that the characters from the first season that I really liked were in here, and they got to play with those type of characters a little more. And it seemed like that this show wanted to be more story heavy rather than just being a character story in general. There are like cameos and other characters from other Star Wars shows and other content from the Star Wars franchise that came into here and are interwoven into the story plot and have their own story arcs going on, and I really liked some of the story arcs that were going on with those characters that they had in here. The casting choices that they had for these characters were great. If they ever want to go into other Star Wars projects like in feature films or other live action television shows, I really hope that they do the exact same casting choices because they play these characters really good. I like that this show played more conflicting options with our main character Din Djarin and how he is so used to doing old traditions as a Mandalorian, and when he is faced with other types of Mandalorians and their different sets of rules, he is faced with a choice on whether or not to keep with his old traditions and laws that he's mostly known for his entire life with the Creed, or he has to make his own choices and own decisions in order for him to get something done, and he would feel like that it is the right thing to do. One character that I felt like was majorly improved from the first season was Mayfield. And don't get me wrong, I did enjoy him from the first season, and I don't think a lot of people really cared for this character, but I did enjoy him from the first season. And I like that we got a lot more character depth with him and figured out more on where he came from and how we can actually empathize with him because of what we've known about him now. As for flaws, I mean, I am kinda a little bit in a burnout with Star Wars content because I just got finished watching two shows, which is Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and I love both of those shows, and I didn't really want to watch those shows for Mandalorian. I just wanted to watch those shows in general, but because I have seen those shows and I love those characters and those characters are in this show, it felt like it was so overwhelming to me. There was just a lot that was happening in the show, and I felt like the show was a little more enjoyable when it was being simple and easy to understand, and it was just on the viewpoint of one character throughout the entire time in this show, and it added in just enough of a good emotional punch with all of the characters that we were able to connect with, especially Din Djarin in the first season. There was just a lot of other big characters that were in here, and The Mandalorian, I'm used to it being a small and simple show rather than it trying to be bigger than it could handle, and I felt like that if it was being just in that small scale rather than trying to be like a grand epic like it was trying to do in season 2, I probably would have enjoyed it a little more. And don't get me wrong, it's still really good. I was thoroughly entertained with all the cameos that were from different shows and different Star Wars content. I really enjoyed seeing them in this show, but again, it's just that when you have so much of that, it becomes really tiring, and sometimes it loses track on what it is that does actually make the first season of The Mandalorian enjoyable to begin with. But the other two problems that I did have with the show that I think are way more of a problem for me than the other one is that, first of all, the first two episodes were not that good. It felt like that they were going on other side quests just so that he can have like an episode for the sake of having an episode, and it was not interesting to me, and it was kind of a weak start to begin a season that was actually going really big. And the other big problem that I have is that there is a particular character that has some special effects done on them, and I thought it was bad. It was in episode 8, and a lot of people will know what I'm talking about if they have seen this season, but I thought the special effects on this character were awful. But in general, I had a really good time watching this show. I think that it was a lot of fun. It's definitely better than the Star Wars content that we got in the theatrical run. It seems like the Star Wars shows are really kicking it into gear. It's kind of reminding me of what's going on with the DC universe, where the movies were kind of failing, but the shows on the CW were actually really kicking it into gear. But now it's actually kind of the opposite, and I don't know if that's going to be the same with Star Wars, but I hope not. But nonetheless, as of right now, I had a really good time watching The Mandalorian, and I can't wait for Season 3. I don't think that it was better than Season 1. As of right now, I think that Season 1 is just a little bit better just because of its simplicity in the first season, and that's what I really liked about The Mandalorian in general. I like its simplicity in the first season. The Season 2 if it wasn't trying to be as big as it was trying to, then I probably would have enjoyed it. But nonetheless, I still really dug it. But what did you guys think of this show? Do you actually agree with what I say, or do you have some problems with this season in particular? Put them down in the comment section below, and let's start a conversation about it. And like this video if you agree with what I say, or dislike this video if you disagree with what I say. I don't mind the dislikes. So that is it I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video.